What's up, everybody? It's your boy Showtime Doctor. So we got this new banner coming out tomorrow, and guess what? Your boy already has both characters. Just happened by luck, so I wanted to showcase them both together, and we'll go over all their stuff and what you need to know if you want to pull for them or not. I literally have all of the recommended gear for this character. These were Celeon's guides. If you see a blue circle, Celeon recommends both sides. And it's up to you, depending on what type of character you want to play. You can actually run two different versions of her. There's more of a PvP version that is pull, trap, execute, versus the PvE version that's more isolate, execute, ignore defense, stack crit, stack attack, stack defense, and just turns into a monster. Now we'll start with Garcia, or as I call her, Snow Queen, because she snowballs. Her passive has a stacking buff that goes up to 6 times in the beginning and then 9 times. And you can combine that with snowball gear. She's just got this vibe of this lady that's just, something's wrong with her. Alright, so let me show you what she's all about. So this is her passive starting off. Every turn she gains a stacking buff, rotational acceleration, 4% attack and defense. At 3 stacks she gets increased crit by 15%, and this stacks up to 6 times. Now, eventually what's going to make her a monster is, once you get her to 5-star, it stacks 9 times. When reaching 3 stacks, crit by 30%. When reaching 6 stacks, crit damage by 30%. 9 stacks, ignore targets block and 40% of their defense. Ignoring defense in the late game is something that makes her and Nungal both crazy DPS. Not to mention she's getting 2 stacks of rotational acceleration right now. So long term, this is going to be a unit that's going to be putting out the deeps. This is once again another stacking thing. Void Stab, increase crit by 3, gain 1 stack of the Void. It's basically crit damage by 5% and can stack up to 6 times. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Effect lasts until the end of the next turn. So if you got her with like an Inanna, or somehow she's getting multiple hits with her extra co-attack stuff, she can get really, really crazy deeps. Another piece of recommended gear, if you're going to be lone wolfing the Maverick Cloak, 4 tiles around the character, attack and defense, increased by 6% if she has no allies within 4 tiles of her. And her crit's going up, so all that stacks together. And of course, everyone's favorite stacking DPS item, the Devil buff. In case you haven't figured it out by now, stacks attack and defense 3% up to 30 times. So if you got a map with a lot of mobs, this lady is going to snowball even harder. We'll get into her rank gear. Now, there's differences on what you can actually build her with. I went with at the beginning, you start inflicting defense down 2. You can choose to carry that into mid-game if you want, if you particularly need a defense debuff. Over here, Taste of Blood. This is her heal, also dispels, gives her 30%. It's kind of like Cloak of Shadows if you remember playing Rogue on World of Warcraft. And Potential Burst, another buff, attack 20, defense 40%. And she cannot have her stats debuffed once this is on for a turn. Now this skill, this is one that's like, she does assist attack in 3-tile cross shape range, so line on every directional side, if the character is dying, so basically like an execute, right? Piercing damage, she's ignoring magic defense and physical defense, equal to 50% of the target's lost HP. Effect can be activated once a round. If you situate her right, she's gonna kill whoever it is that you just attacked, more than likely. Now, if you want early game, if you'd rather not get Taste of Blood, and you want to do PvP, you can choose to get Hookshot, but there's also this skill at rank 7, Spinning Blade. Garcia is capable of having 2 hooks if that's your playstyle. Very good for PvP, pulling people across the bridges. But this one's instant, so Spinning Blade. Garcia selects an enemy in a cross-shape pattern, drags them to her side, dealing 70% damage and recovering 2 energy when defeating any target. So it's essentially range and her other skill that she does where she pretty much executes someone. And when she executes with this skill, by the way, she gets an additional stack of rotational acceleration. Her damage is increased by 45% as well, so if you can execute a couple people in a row, because this isn't that energy heavy, just 2 energy. So these are the things I'm running her with now. Execute, like I just showed you. Spinning Blade. And then Taste of Blood, just to give her a little bit of heal, a little bit of buff. Lastly, the skills you want to be looking at are on the left side for the future. So Painful Cutting. Basic attack, single target attack, deals 33% damage 3 times. When used against injured targets, crit rate goes up 25%. And Gale Dance, a big little AoE within 2 spaces around her, also gains crit 2 before attacking. Potential weaknesses. She needs to get kills to stack faster. That Execute that I was telling you about where she gets 2. She needs to ramp up fast. If you're fighting like a big boss, or there aren't that many mobs on the map, she's going to have trouble ramping up. Another potential weakness for her, Dispel. Anyone in the game with Dispel. On the closed beta, when she got Dispelled, it took all of her stacks. I'm not sure if that's still the case, because I haven't run into too many Dispel mobs with her. But just pay attention. She needs all those buffs that I showed you, including the devil, including everything, to become that monster that she's capable of becoming. And if she can get Dispelled, then you're starting over. Alright, on to Nungal. Nungal is a basic B. What do I mean? Basic badass, of course. All of her skills are going to revolve around her basic attack until level 55, and she can be quite proficient, deceptively proficient with her basic attack. However, once you hit level 55, she's going to have enough stacking buffs, ignore defense, and hopefully you got someone that can put up Dark Light debuff for her, to where she just becomes a boss-killing monster that can't be stopped. Nungal's got like this shy girl vibe, but apparently when you see her in Spiral, she's actually pretty forthcoming on her beliefs, and especially her love for her brother, Nurgle. Nungal's passive, her physical damage is going to turn into magical damage, but you still want to build her physical damage. It gets converted. Every tile between her and the target, she's going to get a stacking buff up to 40%, as long as she does not move before attacking. This is kind of a tricky thing to do. I'll show you more on that later. At 5-star, it adds passive 15% crit, as well as the stack goes up to 45% now, and if the target is more than 5 tiles away, she's ignoring all reaction skills, preempt, and strike back, so that includes taunts. Now, as for her gear, I don't have anything ideal for her, so I'm going to go ahead and give her Fake Hell's Bow, just raw stats. Now this is an interesting case. You remember how I said that when she moves, she loses a lot of her bonus from the range damage? This ring is a teleport ring. It teleports once to the back of a friendly character. And I have tested this and proven that if you teleport with this ring, it does not count as movement and you still get the bonus. So if you're putting your characters properly on the map, you can teleport behind them and still get max damage, which is pretty cool. Also provides a little attack bonus. And then, of course, everyone's favorite, the devil. Now, generally, you're probably better off with the ignore defense, 20% for injured. But this is just something I run on her when there are a lot of enemies on the map. When there aren't a lot of enemies and we're fighting bosses, I'd rather run the 20% ignore defense, Terror Whisper. As for her skill tree, first skill you get at rank 1 gives her passive crit at the end of the round as long as there's no enemies nearby, which there never should be with her. Rank 3, this is her single target attack. That's going to be the snipe that eventually becomes the boss killer. Use it a little bit early game. It's not going to be as effective because you still got to build up your stats, your gear, and get all the other supporting skills. 5 is Sniper Intuition, so decrease range damage taken by 20. Any character within threat range, she gets move +2, so once again, keeps her away from the enemy. Rank 7, Shatter Arrow, this is where basic attack starts to shine. Basic attack ignores 40% of the target's defense. And you're going to be hugging the left side for a while here. Fatal attack at rank 9. Basic attack becomes 100% attack as well as critical damage 15% increase. And then once you get to rank 11, you're supposed to get both skills. So Quick Reload recovers her energy and reduces her skill cooldowns for Deadly Aim. At the very beginning of our fight, she does not have this skill because you only have 3 energy and it takes 4 to cast. So her boss killer move is going to become near instant, or you can chain them with this skill. And then Eagle Eye, another instant. Range increases by 1 And then P attack goes up by 10, and gives her Highland advantage as well. We're gonna go ahead and take these ladies out. Alright, so finding a showcase where Nungal doesn't one-shot most things, but we can still show off their each unique abilities is a bit demanding, but we are going to make it work here. So, round 1 Garcia. Go ahead and just murder someone right off the bat. That's going to give her 2 stacks of rotational acceleration. Just from that alone, she's got 5% increased crit damage, 8% from this on attack and defense, and then another 3 with the devil debuff. So that's why I call her Snowball Queen. Okay, so now we're going to show off the execute ability from range as long as Garcia is within a line of whoever's getting targeted. If they get to the dying state, which you can see by this line right here, she goes ahead and does an execute follow-up. Excellent ability. Now this dude over here probably thinks he's safe. We're gonna go ahead and grab him.
Finish him. Fatality.
Is she crazy enough to go in on this? You better believe it. In fact, let's go ahead and really get it going here. So this will be our first kill. Go ahead and come back here and wreck this Sork. See that damage ramping up? See that defense ramping up? Let's see what her stack's already up to. She's got 5 stacks of rotational acceleration, so 20% of attack and defense. She's got 6 stacks of devil. Another 18 on top of that. So 38% stacked attack and defense. You can see where this is going. So now she's max rotational acceleration. And here comes basic Nungal. With a block. Still hits for 1,000. Very nice. And the spree is about to come to an end. Only because the bodies are coming to an end. 1744 non-crit. And there's your showcase. So, 2 ladies, very different in the way that they work. Nungal is eventually going to become more of a monster. But at the beginning, she's basic B, like I said. And you got your Murder Rising right there, and she's not even near endgame, though she's getting closer. You can already see what she's going to turn into if you want to play that play style with her aggression and her being by herself. Now, there wasn't going to be a lot for Nungal in that showcase just because she's basic attack, like I said, so there's not a whole lot to showcase once you have a basic attack as your main DPS. Once she gets to rank 11, she's going to be putting out more boss damage than anybody in the game. But yo, that's it for the showcase. So hey, I'm Showtime Doctor, Showtime DR. You found my YouTube. Hit like and subscribe for the content. I'll see y'all later.